It's warm
Well,
and
good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. This is Dr. Jacqueline King, CEO and founder of Black Women Empowered. And as I always say, we bring amazing people to you doing amazing things. And today certainly will not disappoint you. I have Dr. Deborah Howard, amazing woman. How you doing, Dr. Deborah?
I am doing well this evening. How are you?
I'm doing well also. This weather we getting is crazy, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, yes. I'm just like, where did the 280-degree days come in at? I'm not going to complain though. I'm not going to complain.
Definitely not complaining. But anyway, Dr. Deborah is here. She's an amazing woman who is a survivor. And we're going to talk, that's what we're really going to talk about. But I want to give a little of your background. She's a dedicated professional and loving family matriarch, celebrating 54 years of life enriched by her 3 adult children, 6 grandchildren, with a robust academic background that includes a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, a master's degree in business management, and a doctorate earned in March of 2013. Deborah's commitment to education is evident. Currently serving as Chief Compliance Officer for Crossroad Child and Family Services, Deborah has spent nearly 4 years contributing her expertise in compliance regulatory matters to ensure the welfare of children and families. Her career spans an impressive 27 years at Park Center, where she worked in the mental health field, reflecting her long-standing passion for mental health. Wow, we have something in common. But anyway, welcome. Come in. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Share the broadcast. We're going to be talking to Dr. Deborah about a few things, but the main thing that really impressed me, other than your academic, which is amazing, um, is that how wonderful you look, having gone through breast cancer and being a survivor. Talk a little bit about how you discovered it.
Okay. So, yeah, we kind of stumbled upon my cancer diagnosis. Um, I had noticed that a growth was coming in my breast, and it was growing pretty fast. Like literally within a couple weeks, it was just growing. And then it became sensitive to touch. And then when I noticed that when I was in the shower, even the water would hurt when
Mm.
it would touch my skin. So I ended up scheduling an appointment. It was almost time for my annual mammogram anyway. And so when I went, I told them what the complaint was. So what they ended up doing was scheduling me to have it drained. It ended up being a cyst. So then 1 year later, to the date when it was time to do my annuals again, what they ended up noticing is that I had some calcifications. And that was the difference between the two scans that had taken place of my breast previously. And so when he looked at it, he was like, well, there's just a few calcifications here. He said, it's not much. It may be nothing, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of check it out anyway. Lord and behold, when they checked it out, it ended up being breast cancer. So that was like on the 4th when they ended up taking the sample of my breast tissue. And then I didn't find out that it was actually a cancerous tumor until that Tuesday. So oddly, over that whole entire weekend, I just felt like God was giving me signs that it was going to come back positive, because I was seeing just billboards, breast cancer, commercials, and everything. I was hearing and seeing everything completely different. And so when I received the diagnosis, when they called me that morning, um, they just said it's cancer. And then they scheduled an immediate follow up to have the conversations about moving forward. So that's how we ended up determining it was breast cancer.
So did they catch it in early stages?
So they did catch it in the early stages. So I was considered stage 2. But I was only considered a stage 2 just because of the size of the tumor. And the tumor had grown. It was like a 3.5 inches by the time, that they had tested it. So by then, it was stage 2.
So I noticed. Well, everyone keeps saying 1 out of 3 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. That's a lot. That is really a lot. So initially, what were your feelings? I mean, I know you're a Christian. I know you're a God fearing woman, and I know your faith is in God, which helps with everything.
It does. It does.
uh, so, what was your initial reaction when they told? But you said you kind of felt like it was.
I kind of felt like it was just because of all the signs, the things that were showing up over that weekend. And I don't know if that was just internally me just noticing and things differently. But my whole stance after they told me, I was at work when I received the phone call. And I just took a deep breath afterwards and I said, okay. And I didn't break down immediately. I was just like, oh, okay. They just said I have breast cancer. I'm going to go home and I will call my people and let my people know. So I went home. But before I even called family, friends, and anybody, I prayed and then I cried. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to get this out. And then after that, I believe that you're going to heal me. And so I cried that whole entire day. I gave myself permission. Cry today. Because after that, it was the fight. And so literally that's how I handled it. It was just like, now we're going into battle. But I wasn't going alone. So I had my faith. And I never grew angry because of the diagnosis. That was one of the things that I was kind of thinking about. Did I ever go through a phase of just being angry with God because of the diagnosis? And I didn't experience that.
Well, that's amazing. I think your your attitude has a big part to play in how you deal with this. Would you say?
Oh, absolutely. Because I think it was mind over everything else for me because I internalize a lot of things just in general in life. And one of the things that when I first received the diagnosis and said to myself that I was going to fight, I was just considering myself and going into battle by myself, not by myself, but with God. I wasn't considering my children, my family. I literally pushed everything else out and away. And this was just a fight for me and God. I don't quite know what I was thinking when I was going through that, but I didn't let others in. I didn't let others in either. So,
well, we want to say hello to everyone's tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. This is so serious because I'm hearing more and more women of color that are being diagnosed with breast cancer. And there's various reasons. Some women they don't get checked. Some women don't have insurance, live in rural areas, or misdiagnosed. It goes on and on and on, right? Ursuline, hello, sister. She's a big fan. She's usually on most of our broadcasts. How are you doing, Queen? But so, you're an educated woman, a highly educated woman. What would you say to the women who might not be as educated as you, as well read as you?
One of the things I will say is that thank you, one, for recognizing that. But I would say any woman can go and look this information up. It is accessible. You do not have to be extremely smart and highly intelligent and have tons of resources. Like literally, if you just go to a nurse, my brother was married to a nurse, so I had her to go to find out what vitamins I could use. because I wanted to consider the natural route after having to go through the chemo and radiation and all of that. And so you can find this information and you can educate yourself because, again, because I felt like I was doing this journey on my own, they gave me a lot of materials. I took the time and I read and I read and I read through all of that because I needed to know what was next, what was next, what was next. So, and during those course of treatments, how was I going to feel? I just needed to be prepared mentally for what side effects I was going to encounter, um, even stages of grief or whatever was going to come with that diagnosis. And trust me, I experienced a lot of different emotions over the years. And I think I'm like about 12 years now, 12 years in as a survivor.
That's
But yeah,
nice. Awesome.
yes, you can find that information anywhere though. But I would say consider talking to people, reading people. Yeah, just looking that material up though.
And so I think a lot of us don't do self-examinations either.
Yes.
That's a big deal, right?
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. And I had been doing self-examinations because there was breast cancer in my family history.
Mm.
And so I started getting annual mammograms at the age of 28.
Oh, wow.
So I was considered, I must have been in a risk category because of the family history, but also because of the cyst. And so maybe I had forgotten about it. Um, but somewhere on there, I got put on the list of having to get mammograms early. So, and I'm glad that I was getting them because had it not been for that, they probably would not have found it as early.
Well, I know I interviewed Councilwoman Michelle Chambers not too long ago, and she said she did not have the BRCA gene, which, I mean, this is something that honestly you're just starting to hear about,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Is that something that you had, or you were never tested for it?
So I was not tested for it. I had a first cousin who ended up having breast cancer and she passed away, but it was not related to the breast cancer. And then I have another first cousin that had ovarian cancer. So I didn't get it. None of my aunts had breast cancer. It was almost like it skipped their generation and then it came with the first cousins. So, but I didn't get tested for it. My insurance at the time, I don't think covered the testing. And so coming out of affordability, it just wasn't affordable for me to do. So,
Right. And Regina is on, our queen sister, Regina Bryson Jones. Hello, beautiful queen. Thank you for joining us. Share the broadcast, please. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like I said, it seems like more and more Black women are getting it. Do you think it is contributed to the food we eat, the lack of exercise, or all of the above?
I think it's a collection of all of those things. Like my parents grew up on my grandmother gardening a lot. Well, my age group, I had kids, it was fast food. So I am pretty sure that it did have some contribution to that diagnosis. Not having a healthy diet when you're young and you have young kids and you're just kind of still out, I won't say out there in the streets, but in the streets because you have young kids participating in activities. And so you're not home cooking those meals, exercise. I was an athlete when I was younger, but as I got older, yeah, there was no exercise in my daily routine. Um, and I wasn't even seeking to eat really healthy foods during that time either. So I'm pretty sure I was eating heavy, greasy foods, which is why I got
Mhm.
diagnosed with high blood pressure and high cholesterol at a young age as well. So I do think it's probably a little bit of all those things collectively that contributed to it.
So I think that we need to talk more about it. I've interviewed a holistic doctor, Dr.
Mhm.
David Ajabadi, many times. He's been on our platform. And he said that a lot of the reasons, now, this is a man who has never had COVID, he's never had the shot.
Ah,
This is the truth. And he said he would never get the shot. He um, believes in holistic
mhm.
vitamins and stuff, but the main vitamin that he said that causes us a lot of problems, lack of, is vitamin D. Are you aware of that?
Yes, yes. I've had vitamin D deficiency for years. And so I've had the prescriptions numerous times where they give me the 10,000 milligrams that I have to take it every 7 days. Yeah, yeah. That's
And
the issue.
because we're not out in the sun like, the Caucasians or the people who
Mhm.
are out there running and jogging and laying out in the sun and all of that. So that's something I want to mention to everybody. Please uh, take your vitamin D. When you go get your checkups, ask them to check you to
Mhm.
see if you are deficient in vitamin D. I mean, I wouldn't just say go out and start just loading up on vitamin D because you
Mhm.
don't even know if you're deficient.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But these are things that are important to
Yes,
women and men, especially women and men of color. So
absolutely.
I'm really thankful that you're open because I think everybody couldn't do this,
Mhm.
Dr. Deb. Share the story. In the 12 years you are a survivor. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I have a lady coming behind you is a 28-year survivor.
Oh, wow. That's a blessing.
It is. And so I want to showcase you all because I want people to know that it is not the death sentence that it used to be.
Yes, and that is something that women need to realize because I don't know what I was really thinking in the beginning. I definitely didn't think that I was going to die from it because I think my faith was definitely there that God would bring me through. But if you don't have that faith, then that's probably something that's more likely what you're going to think is that it's going to be tragic. It's all negative. There's no life or there's nothing to look forward to in the future. And all of that couldn't be further from the truth because I am telling you that journey that I went through was very, very difficult. And I only have two regrets out of that whole journey because I isolated myself to go through that. And had I included more people in my journey, then they would have been able to see the process and what God was doing for me and how he had his hands on me during that time. But it was something that I don't know that I just wanted personal with him. So I appreciate you giving me this opportunity because I've never been on a platform to actually speak about my breast cancer journey. So this is the first time.
Well, I didn't even know you were a survivor. I think Michelle told me,
Yeah.
and I had been looking for women to interview in the area. So I think that the more we talk about it,
Mhm.
the better our chances are of survival. Not just
Mhm.
encouragement. You hear, God brought me through this, so He can do that for you.
Yes.
And I'm a living, walking testimony.
Mhm.
I love to look at when the shows like Let's Make a Deal and Price is Right have all the breast cancer survivors, and
Yes.
think that just blows my mind because I mean, really, I'm like, this is really good.
Yes, yes,
This is good.
it
There are
is.
women are, but we have to do a better job, not just of taking care of ourselves, but taking care of each other.
I would agree. I would agree. Talking about it is probably one of the first things, and I don't think I was ever ashamed of it, but I just yeah I don't talk about it very often at all. Um, I don't know why though. Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Is it because you're not asked about it? Or, I mean, you're not just gonna go around saying, "Okay, I'm a breast cancer survivor," I guess, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
So is it?
Maybe it could be because maybe I'm not asked about it. I don't know. It just seems, I don't know. It comes up for some people. It just doesn't come up very often for me. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you look totally amazing. I remember the first time I met you. I'm like, this queen right here is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
And God has really been good to you, and I'm so very thankful. First of all, for Him allowing us to connect,
Thank you.
and for you to say yes and be on our show. So, talk about some of the great things you've done. Now, one thing you said you do with is it child advocacy?
Yes. So
Okay.
I've been,
Before you
okay.
do that, let me tell you what I used to do. I've served on many boards. So in New Jersey, I was on what they call the Child Placement Review Board.
Oh, okay.
Probably very similar. So what we did as a board, we reviewed the cases of the kids that were placed in foster care to make sure that their rights were not being violated. Is
Mm-hmm.
that very similar?
No, mine's is a little different. It's
Okay.
residential. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But that's something that's very rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I started out working in group homes
Okay.
with adolescents that have emotional emotional disorders.
Oh, wait, let me just say hi to
Oh,
Tabitha is on. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Tabitha, the Queen, Tabitha, Queen of Fort Wayne.
hello.
that's my spiritual niece. She said she don't let me to call her my daughter, so she's my spiritual niece. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Um, what was I saying?
you
I lost that just that quick.
no, you were talking about the family. You're
Residential.
doing residential.
Yeah. So for me, when I started out working in residential services, so with children that suffer from different types of mental disorders, emotional disorders, and so eventually we end up specializing to a particular population, which were adolescent males that were sexual offenders. And
Okay.
so that ended up being the majority of my years. And I was the director of adolescent residential services. And so, and my job in doing that was actually reviewing all of the documentation, doing the whole process of intaking them into our program, and then making sure that they receive the services to actually go through the treatment program before they return back to their homes. And what I do now is in a similar fashion, working at Crossroad Child and Family Services as the Chief Compliance Officer. I just kind of monitor everything that we do. And so we still provide residential services there as well. And so even though I've been closely related to and tied into a residential services, we provide outpatient services, community-based services, um, residential services, respite care.
Mm.
So yeah, we do all of that.
And this is here in Fort Wayne.
Yes, yes. And we have a
So
school as well.
so how would one use your services?
So if anyone wanted services, we do private placements as well. So parents can place their kids at our residential facility as well. But most of our kids come through DCS referrals or probation. Um, but if people wanted to access our services for community based or for outpatient services, or if they wanted to attend our school, which is considered an alternative school, all they have to do is just call up to Crossroad Child and Family Services, and then we would connect them with our intake referral person.
What exactly is an alternative school?
So an alternative school, if kids are struggling with being able to thrive in a traditional school setting, alternative school setting is really going to remove some of those barriers that may get in the way with kids that have difficulty just kind of sitting still in a classroom, focusing, dealing with their own trauma, helping them to be able to navigate that trauma and so that they can get to the point where they can learn, listen, and learn in a school setting. So, because our program focuses on trauma informed care, then we are highly sensitive when our kids are being triggered throughout a school day. And so they are still able to get them to learn and address their trauma at the same time.
So is that, do you take children who are on the spectrum?
We do have kids that are on the spectrum. Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Mhm.
right. But most of them are troubled that are not really able to function in the regular, I want to call it the
You
regular
probably have a good mixture of both. You
okay.
probably have a good mixture. Most of those kids that struggle with any type of mental illness are probably on the spectrum anyway. Possibly, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's very much needed. I was a commissioner in North Carolina, and I did a 5-part series, which I'm talking to Tabitha about, for the city, uh, and letting the city know all the resources that were available to them, because a lot of times people just don't know where to go for this and that and
Mhm.
that. So, as a commissioner, the city allowed me to put that program on. We had the police, because one of the things that's a big deal is, when there's a crisis, the police, a lot of times they shoot first, and and then and the person was in a mental crisis. But
Yes.
the more we can educate the community
Hmm.
on what their part should be, the better we are off. Because what people fail to talk about is that police are humans too,
Yes.
and they are afraid when they come to somebody who's acting irrational. They're not thinking this person's going through a mental crisis. They're thinking like, this person's going to kill me, so
Absolutely.
I got to kill them first,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
We don't
We're in the
talk
fight or flight.
about those things enough.
Hmm. Yes.
So
Very.
maybe I might have to work with you on that too. Uh
That's fine. I'm open to that as well. And my
yeah,
agency. We
yeah,
have great.
that yeah, and that's something I really have a strong passion for, is helping those who are in mental crisis. Because I mean, there's a ton of people that are going through something every single day.
Mhm. A lot of our youth are suffering on a daily basis, and we
Hmm.
don't even realize how much they're suffering. Our young adults are suffering. They're trying to navigate life. Did they go to college? Did they not go to college? Once they graduated college, looking for a job, still trying to determine what their identity is, who they are, who they're connected to, wanting to be accepted. That is too much. I didn't think about all of that when I was growing up. It did not matter to me that people liked me or not. you know?
Well, we didn't have social media like this
Yes.
either. That makes the big difference.
Yes, absolutely. And they compare themselves constantly to what they are seeing from social media.
Yeah, but these are conversations that we need to have. Um, we need to be out in the community advocating for those who cannot advocate for themselves.
I
So
would agree.
definitely, we'll be talking to you about that, how we can make that happen. Um, I'm a doer. When I say I'm doing something, you can just about take it to the bank.
Good. I am too. Yes,
Yeah, because like if we don't do it, who's gonna do it?
absolutely.
So I commend you for what you've done, all of your accomplishments. Oh, and by the way, she is a Delta. I
Yeah.
have to say that because I got so many friends here and everywhere who are Deltas. I got AKA friends too, so don't, and the Zetas. I mean, I can't leave nobody out.
Divine Nine.
Okay, Divine Nine. But yeah, so thank you so much for your time today. Is there something that you want to leave with our audience. Now we do have a following of close to 4 million on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn. We have 315,000, and
Wow.
we're also live on YouTube.
Oh my goodness. No, I don't have anything that I would like to say except for thank you for granting me and allowing me this opportunity to be able to speak to you in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Being a survivor means a lot to me, and I just want to continue to encourage women. Talk about your health. Talk about your issues that might be going on with your body. Go to the doctor. Don't be afraid to talk about it.
And I'm gonna be quite blunt about this because I've always had Black doctors. I'll be honest. I just felt like they knew me
Mhm.
because because they are me.
Mhm. Yes.
And I'm not saying that, it's going to be working for everyone, but that's what I've been with just about all my life.
I
uh,
started late with that, requesting African American doctors now. Initially, I did not, but over the years, and knowing that we are not treated the same and that we are disproportionately treated. So now, yes, I'm going to ask for a Black doctor.
yep. And let me just say, Michelle Collins Austin, woo, that's my doctor, is look, she is the bomb.com. When I tell you that she is, because she's very attentive to
Yes.
everything. I mean, she really does. She takes time. She don't rush in there and rush you out. And you know how I mean, I know they have
Oh,
skills too,
real. Hmm.
but she does. She asks questions. What's going on? Is there anything wrong?
Yes.
Something, anything if did your toenail hurt? Anything. But
Hmm.
just even if it's not a Black doctor, but make sure you have somebody that really cares about your overall
Yes.
health. Not
Yes.
you're just not another number,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely. Build
And
that relationship with your physician. Build that relationship. Get to know them like they're getting to know you. And if they act
absolutely.
like they don't want to know you, move on,
You
fire
better go
them,
on to
get you another
somebody
one.
else.
Yes.
And I think Michelle's still taking patients. I'm a plugger. She's gonna kill me. Um,
Well, I have Dr. Winston at Women's Health Advantage. She's
okay, I
awesome.
don't know her, but okay, yes, shout her out, girl. Regina says, "Good job, Deborah Howard. Thank you for sharing your story." And I agree.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. And I will be reaching out to you very soon. We're gonna make that happen. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please share the broadcast. We do have another one coming up at 5 um, with a 28-year breast cancer survivor. God bless, and I'll see you in a little bit.
All right. Bye.
Bye.